Let's talk more about this now with Johan Hull. He's live in London. Jonah, Eurosceptics seem to be winning very real political momentum.
Stephen, yes, absolutely, that is right on the one hand, but not to be confused, of course, with actually taking over the running of the European Parliament. That isn't happening. Still a good, strong majority on the centre-right and left holding things together there while these anti-EU parties make gains on the fringes. Well, let's get a bit more reaction to all of this. I'm joined here in London by Dr. Stephanie HARE, a senior Europe analyst with global risk analysis firm Oxford Analytica. Thanks for being with us, Stephanie. We hear a lot about political earthquakes, but perhaps these are more political earthquakes in national politics where countries have lost votes to these anti-Euro parties, where governments have lost votes, more than any sort of seismic change within the European Parliament itself.
I think that's absolutely right. In some countries, and obviously here in the United Kingdom, we're in one of them, the rise of a populist party is going to go for real soul-searching reflection back with the governing coalition. France is another one. But, you know, in Italy, in the Netherlands, and in Spain, some of the big crisis-hit countries, we haven't seen a massive shock. In fact, in the Netherlands, the far-right Freedom Party lost support.
So it's far from a clear-cut picture, but there are those countries, as you mentioned, here in Britain, France is another one, where big gains have been made off the main parties. Is there a worry now that governments, that leaderships in these sorts of countries will start to change their political programs and move more towards the programs of these fringe, some would say extreme parties?
I think there's certainly a risk that they will respond. Whether or not they're going to respond by emulating those parties is a different question. So here in the United Kingdom, if immigration is really such an important issue, we could see that become something that's much more important for everyone in the run-up to the general election. But in other countries, not necessarily. They might respond by going even more left-wing or more European. So the reaction is going to vary across the 28 member states.
Now, ultimately, though, is that the sort of shift that could in time work to undermine the European project overall if, say, there is a shift against immigration in this country, for instance, to try and gain votes back from the UK Independence Party? Could that end up undermining the European project?
Well, again, we have to be really careful because to undermine the European project would involve, what, a dismantling of treaties, a rewriting of treaties? That's something that's going to take years. I think the real takeaway from this election is what is it going to do back in each individual member state? And that will be a case-by-case point. We could see early elections in Greece, but in Italy, in Germany, we could see business as usual. And I think we're probably going to see some business as usual in Brussels itself.
Okay, Dr. Stephanie here, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us. So, Stephen, political earthquakes as they're being described, but felt more in national politics than in the European Parliament, where no seismic changes, not yet at least.
Let's wait and see, Jonah, for the aftershocks. Johan Hull reporting live from London. Thank you.